Hello and welcome. My name is Patrick Cheeseman, and this is the first in a whole series of videos talking about the use of artificial intelligence, AI, and automation. And we're going to talk about consumer behavior and marketing strategies to improve your business. Now, this video is mainly targeted at small and medium sized businesses and entrepreneurs who don't have the resources or the time to really think about particularly things like AI and automation because let's face it, most CEOs are worried about, and business owners are worried about increasing sales, reducing costs, increasing profitability, improving customer service, improving reliability. These are the most important things because at the end of the day, it's the bottom line that counts. But these tools, this new paradigm shift in technology, particularly with AI and automation, can't be ignored. We've had these different waves of technological innovation happen before, but every now and then we get a real game changer. We had the internet, we had social media, and the new one is artificial intelligence. We cannot avoid it. Okay, if you don't embrace it and explore it, how to use in your business, you're going to go extinct. Okay, so the purpose of this video and all the subsequent videos is to talk about practical tips and information and tools that can benefit your bottom line as well. So we're going to talk about typical business problems in terms of marketing, increasing sales, customer service, customer satisfaction, reducing costs and reducing processes. And we're going to find tools that can work to help you right now. Okay. And we'll talk about the different things. Each video is going to be around 20 to 25 minutes, maybe half an hour maximum, because I don't want to waste your time. So first, let's set the scene. I've got a presentation to go through. I'm going to try not to kill you with PowerPoint, but it's important to set the context for this first video and the subsequent videos that are going to continue. So, harnessing artificial intelligence, right? How can we make use of AI to really help and improve our businesses? This is the big challenge, particularly when you don't have a lot of time. AI is a paradigm shift, okay? I did my master's degree in AI back in the 1990s, and I couldn't really do much with it because we didn't have a computer processing power to do any useful work. It was only really used in very specialist applications. But in the last 10, 15 years, the computing power has grown to a point where you can do useful work with AI. And we have computer gamers to thank for that. So if you know a computer gamer, thank him or her, because the demand for new and more powerful games led to the creation of more powerful graphics cards. And by coincidence, a happy coincidence, the architecture of the graphics cards to help improve computer games is also a very good architecture for processing AI systems. And indeed, we have lots of computer hardware manufacturers now, particularly in the graphics cards, that have switched their businesses. They've just completely done 180 degrees, where before they were chasing computer gamers. Now they're chasing AI users because, as we've seen in the last 3 or 4 years, you've probably heard of ChatGPT, which is part of a new type of technology called large language models. And there are many others like Gemini, Copilot, Claude, and many others. They're all trying to do the same thing, right? To process and understand text, image, and video, understand your queries around it, to be trained on it so that they can solve real business problems and personal problems for everybody, which is why it's suddenly become so popular. In addition to the fact that you can just type in English language prompts to get results, you don't have to be a programmer or a developer anymore. And this technology is getting better and better all the time. Initially, it was all about text. Next, then it became images and videos. Now you can build your own applications without having to be a technical expert. Okay, and we're going to talk about all of these things in the coming months and years, hopefully. Let's see. So it's a complete paradigm shift, right? And most businesses today are driven by data. If we can understand that data, and particularly sales data, cost data, etc., AI can look at it and make predictions and analyze and give you real world useful predictions and recommendations about how to improve your business based on that data. So, as a result of all these tools, suddenly there's been a flood of innovative solutions on the market, and this is just only going to accelerate. So, the reason I'm producing these videos is to provide recommendations for different toolkits, tools, techniques, etc., for real business owners to solve real business problems. One of the applications, one of the ways this technology can be used is to find new business opportunities. So you can ask these tools to understand your market. So you can train these tools by uploading PDF documents or other documents into the models to understand what you're doing. You can even point it at your company website and it'll understand your business just by analyzing your website. And then you can ask it questions such as, based on your understanding of my business, on this material I've given you, and based on your understanding of what the market is like and all the competitors in my market, please recommend, make predictions, analyze what might happen in the future. And it'll do a really good job of coming out with that. You can ask it, who are my ideal customers? How do I find them? What characteristics do they have? What behaviors do they exhibit? And then you can drill down. So we all know that advertising online now is the premier way of advertising because we can gather the data and we get results very quickly. And now you can ask these models to recommend strategies, keywords, hashtags. It can create the adverts. It can create the descriptions, the product descriptions on your website. It can create blog posts. It can do all of this for you. And it can even create the website itself. I'm going to show you my website. My company is called Pixel Clear Solutions. And I created a new website for that. And it was done entirely by prompting. Okay. And as somebody who used to build websites in the past, it's a revolution because the kind of website that I've created for my company would normally take me, a few weeks. But now, I did it, I had the core website done in a couple of hours just by prompting. So the opportunities are amazing. We can also use the AI to help manage daily operations. So you can ask it to look at your costs and to analyze and see where the trends are and what are the problems. And it can make recommendations. If you've got physical product and you need to manage your inventory, you can ask it to give me ideas about optimization. This is just from the normal models like ChatGPT, etc. But then you have specific products that you'll probably, depending on which industry you're in, you'll probably have noticed that a lot of the vendors have added AI technologies into these products to help. And there's a reason for that, because AI is very good at analyzing vast quantities of data and making predictions. So it's really, really useful for that. Managing customer interactions. You might have heard of a concept of a chatbot, right? So on your website, you can now install this chatbot. You can train this chatbot in your business. When somebody comes to your website and wants to understand something about your business, it wants to ask a question, this chatbot can answer those questions, those initial questions. And then based on the answers, it can then book a meeting automatically between you and your client. It can access your calendar and make a recommendation to the person looking at the website saying, yes, I'm available tomorrow at 3 p.m. Book. Okay, so it can do all that behind the scenes while you're doing something else. And particularly when you're a solo entrepreneur and a small business, having these kinds of processes automated has a dramatic effect on your productivity in a positive way. Most businesses, as I said, don't have time to absorb all this information because the CEOs, the salespeople, in the small business, they're constantly fighting day to day to make more sales, etc., manage their costs and all those things. So there's a lack of time for adopting new technologies, but we have to find the time. So resources like there are going to be these videos that I'm going to produce and others, because I'm not the only one doing this, of course, are designed to help you pick and choose very quickly what you can do and how you can improve your business. Automation. There are a lot of processes in a business that can be completely automated. Classic example is invoice processing. At the moment, a lot of businesses they receive invoices and they have to manually extract from an invoice into the accounting system, and it takes time. They need human beings to do it, and it's just not necessary anymore. Using AI, an AI tool can understand that invoice, an electronic copy of that invoice, extract all the data and put it automatically straight into your accounting system. There are tools that can connect your business applications together, and you can create process workflows that are completely automated. This is incredibly powerful. Okay, so it's important that you understand as a business owner the power of automation in terms of making your business much more efficient. Customer service, okay, one of the benefits of customer service is consistency. Okay, so one of the challenges of customer service is consistency. Okay, how do you ensure that every customer is serviced to the best of your ability? If you're a one-man operation or you've got a small team and maybe you don't have, you might have somebody responsible for customer service, but they're probably doing other things as well. If we can automate that, so when somebody has an issue, they log on, they raise a case, and a robot can be trained on a chatbot can be trained on the most common problems, easy to solve, and a chatbot can probably help solve a lot of these problems without human interaction, and only when required would it drive through to a human being to do it. Now, that can be annoying from a consumer point of view because people want to speak to people, but gradually over time, people are getting used to talking to chatbots, and the chatbots are getting more and more sophisticated. So it's important that companies and businesses use that functionality. I've talked about it. I'll mention again, data-driven, okay? If you've got a lot of sales data, marketing data, cost data for many years, if you need to do market research by grabbing data about what's going on in your market, AI is perfect for this, for analyzing. So the AI tools can analyze spreadsheets, they can analyze documents, they can analyze most formats these days, and can bring all this data into one place and produce a report for you. You can schedule it to happen on a regular basis, and it can even email you that report automatically to your team, etc. It can integrate with your WhatsApp or your Slack or your team, whatever your team management platforms are. All of this can be brought together. It's a dramatic effect on the efficiency of businesses. We talked about targeted advertising a bit, but now these tools, if you notice, there's a lot of tools out there now that will help with planning and defining and planning your online advertising strategies. Your Facebook, your Google, your Instagram, your TikTok. These tools will create all the graphics and even the videos now. They'll create the descriptions. They'll create the hashtags and the keywords, whichever platform you're using. All of this can be iterated automatically using these tools. You just describe to the tool about your business and you describe what you want, and based on the data, it will come out with it. Now, it's not perfect all the time, but it'll get it right 80% of the time, and you can edit what it produces, right, before you use it. And then you can schedule the posts completely automatically, right? So once you've reviewed it and you're happy, bang, it goes, okay? And it's just automatically scheduled. Okay, well, compare that to a few years ago where you had to do everything manually. It's a dramatic improvement. And the computer can the AI model can look at past results and what's going on in the market and the best practices so they can produce more accurate targeting methods. by helping to segment your audience, and it can also monitor what's going on and notify you if there are any issues, what's working well, what isn't working well. Okay, and it can learn. It can learn constantly. Customer relationships. So we talked about it once again. So CRM systems, customer relationship management systems, are, a very powerful tool that a lot of businesses have. I think almost all businesses have some form of CRM. And AI can also enhance those customer relationship management systems to help create automated communication with your clients, keep them updated, keep them all organized, alert you for any issues, as I mentioned before. It can analyze what's been previous purchasing patterns from customers and make recommendations. There's so much it can do. All we have to do is get hold of them and start playing with them. And that's. I've noticed that a lot of non-technical CEOs are a little bit scared of playing with this stuff. And my recommendation is just make the time to play and use resources like these videos that I'm producing and others to understand which tool is the best way forward for you and your business. Business optimization, we've talked about it. As I said, process automation, productivity, financial analysis, I've already mentioned it. It's just automation, consistency, building an AI that can work on your behalf. We have a concept now of agent AIs, which are running in the background, talking with other agent AIs, helping different aspects of your business and communicating, all in the background while you're doing other work. Okay, so these automated AIs don't just, they work 24 hours 7, 365 days a year. So you imagine if you're a single entrepreneur starting up, it's a multiplier effect on your business, right? It just has to help you to have a bigger impact than you can as an individual. Because obviously, you might be working 12-hour days, 6 days a week, and you're probably half killing yourself, right? As a process, because most entrepreneurs do that. But if you can automate a lot of that stuff, you can then concentrate on the high value things, which are customer relationships and sales, for example. So you have to embrace this. How do we go about doing it? Well, everybody has pain points in their business, and there's a lot of consistent pain points across any industry. So the first thing to do would be to look at your processes. And before we even think about automation or using AI, you need to look at each step in that process and decide, does that step in the process add value to my business and to my customers? If it doesn't, delete it. Okay, what comes left, whatever's left and makes sense and adds value, then you automate as much as possible. You shouldn't automate for the sake of automating. You need to look at your processes first to see if you can simplify them and then automate. That's an important distinction, okay? Because if a process is rubbish, if you're just automating a rubbish process, you're just going to cause even more problems. Okay, so it's important to understand your processes first. So step by step, as I said, you need to understand the current capabilities, the current processes. Once you've gone through your processes to make sure they're all adding value, then you need to map the processes onto the correct tools. And there are lots of software tools now that allow different packages to communicate with each other. So we all, most of us will probably have Microsoft Office, we have an accounting package, we have a CRM, we have, many tools, or whatever's managing your website, etc. Now we have a technology to link it all together and exchange data. So there are a lot of tools that help you do that. So that process of linking and bringing it in all together. Then take the most painful one first, the one you need to solve the most, and then create a pilot to make sure that it works, okay? Bring in expertise through people like myself and others to help you build that pilot and deploy it, okay? And then once it's deployed and it's working and you're seeing the business benefit, then you move to the next one. But you can't ignore this. Even if you're a single entrepreneur or small business and you feel that you can't have time to do this, if you do this and you get it working, then you'll make your whole business more efficient, and your staff can be doing higher value added things like customer service and sales and promotion, or perhaps you can remove some of your staff. Okay, whatever that business decision is. But managing costs, particularly in a startup, is really, really important. So if you have the ability, if you are about to launch a startup, you need to get this right from day one. Okay, so you need to put all this in place from day one so that you don't slip into the old ways of thinking, but you can take advantage of all this technology right from the first moment. Importance of training, right? So we all need to do training, and this is one of the things I'm going to be doing as well. I'm going to be developing a lot of courses, which will be available on the website, the Pixel Clear Solutions. There's nothing there at the moment as of recording this video, but what I have done is produce a list of curated books that I read about marketing and AI and automation. I'm adding to these all the time. And I'm also produced a list of curated tools. And these are some of the tools, well, these tools I'm going to talk about. And these are some of the tools in future videos. And these are some of the tools that you're going to highly recommend that you use depending on what you're doing. Okay. So it's a simple thing. I mean, one example, if you're an entrepreneur CEO, you probably get 50, 100 emails a day coming into your inbox, right? Wouldn't it be great if you have a solution that could analyze all those incoming emails, create a reply, and put them in your draft inbox, your draft box on your email platform, ready for you to send? And it understood what was in that email. It made a fantastic reply, high quality reply in your tone because it's analyzed all your previous emails. And all you had to do was review. Yes, okay, got to edit that one a bit. Bang, bang, bang. How many hours in a day would you say? At least an hour a day, surely, because we all have to fill in all these. We all have inboxes which are flooded by junk and also genuine emails, and it's really hard to manage. If you don't adopt AI in your business, you are in danger of going out of business because your competitors will lower their costs, they'll be able to charge lower prices, and their customer service will be better. And of course, we all know in the days of the internet that, and particularly, it only takes a few seconds to grab someone's attention, and if your system isn't working, they're just going to go somewhere else. Okay, so it's really important that you adopt it. The risk of not adopting AI in your business far outweighs the distraction you'll have to get it implemented as opposed to running your day-to-day business, if you get what I mean. Okay, so you have to make time for this. This is a paradigm shift, and it's only going to get more capable. Okay, so you need to dive in. It gives you massive competitive advantage. Okay, just to summarize everything I've talked about: lower costs, improved processes, improved customer service, better targeting of your advertising, so thus increasing emails. Taking the drudgery out of a lot of processes to which you're automating and so improve the morale of your staff, for example, because they can be doing more interesting work. The benefits are amazing. You'll make better, faster decisions to improve your business. So we need to, one of the big things about running a business is you need to continually innovate. And if you're able to automate and plug in all these processes using these tools, it's much easier to change things around. Okay, rather than using old processes based on paper and systems that don't talk to each other. So it will be much easier to enhance and do and improve things in the future when you have that facility. So to conclude today, there are huge opportunities with AI which you cannot ignore. Even if I appreciate as a CEO or small business owner, your fundamental is to improve your business, to manage your customers, to create more sales, etc., etc. But you can't ignore AI. You have to get involved. you have to understand its potential, and hopefully this presentation is giving you an idea what that potential is. And also, you have to make the time to implement. So, let me. This is wrapping up the presentation. I'm going to switch over now to have a quick look at my my website. And one moment. Bear with me. Okay. This is my website, Pixel Clear Solutions. Okay. As you can see, it's a nice website. I like it myself. And there you go, there's me. And in this website, I've incorporated curated books, so you can check out our library, you can explore our library. And here's a lot of books that I've written, not that talented, that I have read, and you can purchase. Okay, and this list is growing all the time. And then I've also got a list of tools that I use either myself or with my clients that I have. And these are real tools that have been used to create and improve on businesses. Okay, so this will increase as well. Okay, it's just going to get more and more over time. But the amazing thing about this website, as I explained, is none of this was built by hand coding. This website was entirely built by prompting using the tools available. So hopefully it gives you an indication of the capabilities of these tools, how amazing they are, and the benefits it can do. Because imagine you want a website for your business and you can create it in a day or two as opposed to doing it in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or whatever. How much money have you saved? How much time have you saved? Okay. So that's a fantastic example. So I'm going to wrap up the video now. Thank you very much for watching. You can contact me through the website. And my name is Patrick Cheatham, and I look forward to the next video. The next video is going to be about consumer behavior. Okay, thanks very much. Cheers.